explain about my final year project restaurant recommendation system. So the restaurant recommendation system is based on the LDA model algorithm, and it mainly has two parts, that is the front end part and the back end part. In the first part, I'll be explaining about the back end part and then about the front end part. Before that, we'll have a small demo of my project. So currently, the database doesn't contain the data set. We'll first run the back end of the project. For that, we can run the python.driver.py file. So this will run the back end of the project. And as we can see simultaneously here, the backend is data set files are getting created and stored. I'll give you an overview of all the collections. So the B consists of all the business comments, all the business comments, like whatever a restaurant got, whatever comments a restaurant got, those are being stored here. Similarly, whatever a user gives comments on, like on various restaurants, those are getting recorded. SB and SP is basically SB is nothing but to get so a user would have commented on various restaurants. So to get all the user comments a user has given under one roof, we have used this collection. So this user ID has commented on these many restaurants, and the comments are as follows. Similarly, we can see the second user ID has given 4 comments, so and so on. So similarly, a business would have got many comments on itself. So to get all the business comments, like all the user comments under one roof a business has got, we use this database. UB and UP are the outputs of the LDA algorithm. Like after filtering this database, data set, whatever output is it is fed into the LDA algorithm, and whatever is output is stored in the database. And on these values, these encrypted values, we will find the cosine similarity, which I'll be showing in the code. So let's have since the backend has run successfully, we can just go to the demo of the project. To run the front end, we need to use the .bar_run file, which is the executable file. So this is the port number, and it's run on the local host. So the first page of the project is home page, and here we can branch out as a new user or an existing user. We'll go to the existing user, and we enter a existing user ID in the database. So in the user ID, we'll just pick some random value and we will check. So this is the results: the best recommended and the least recommended restaurant, the name of the restaurant, and this is the user ID which we entered. And whatever to compare the results, we have I've used these three boxes. So here the user comments, like user would have commented on A, B and C restaurant. So all the user comments are under one roof in this box, so we can comprehend what he might like and what he might not like. And so this is the best recommended restaurant. So these are this here there's only one comment, but usually a restaurant will have many more comments. So what the user the comment this restaurant has got is over here, that is the best recommended restaurant. We can analyze why this has been recommended as the best restaurant. Similarly, this is the least recommended restaurant, and the comments on that restaurant by various users is here. So analyzing this, we can just understand why it's least recommended. For example, in this comments, we see that my favorite place is to get pizza and beer with friends in Tempe. This place has a tendency to get busy and parking is terrible though, so try not to go during peak times and definitely call carpool or ride share. And other comments is um, so so we can see that this person likes uh, he has a tendency to like beer, and he doesn't like to go to places which is busy, or where we have to stand in long lines. So here we can see that the on this restaurant, the comment it has got is, my husband loves good beer, and I like to make my husband happy and try new places. So here we are in the late afternoon on Friday. First off, I love this space. It's open with lots of natural light. So here also she expresses in the comments that she likes places which have good atmosphere. See, the atmosphere in general makes it a perfect hangout. So based on that, so this is the similarity, and that's why it's being recommended. And since we can just like we can analyze that she doesn't like waiting, or standing in lines. Here also, the reason this is least recommended is because it says expect to wait and stand in line for brunch, um, and so on. Like, basically that's the reason it's least recommended. If we go through these comments very carefully, we can analyze it more properly of uh, why it is least recommended. Like, great atmosphere, busy indeed, especially on the Friday noonish that I visited. So it's kind of this place is kind of busy, and it's not a ideal place that this user ID would visit. So this is the existing user page and the new user page. Here we can enter uh, our email ID as a new user, and your age, gender, favorite cuisine is Indian, and any other attributes, a good ambience. So this whatever input is given here will be stored in the database. So when we check which restaurant will be best recommended, we'll get we'll get to like, these are the restaurant names, and these are the comments on that particular restaurant. Wow, I grew up on a meat and lived in Texas and loved the taste and texture. I became a vegetarian and always have craved a burger, so my roommate bought me to Green and Big WC, and is outstanding. I can't believe it's not meat. The taste was perfect and it had the right texture, color, and consistency. This is not a veggie garden burger. I love to cook and have no idea. So we can see here that, okay, I also loved the samosas much better than my favorite Indian restaurant. Not greasy, but all very crispy. So in we can infer that this is an Indian restaurant. So very good Indian food. This is the first place I experienced Indian, and I have been hooked ever since. And so I have a South Indian food addiction. So all these restaurants are recommended based on that. And the comments on the least recommended restaurant is, so we can see that nice location, nice ambience, but poor service and poor quality food. Not recommended if you are looking for authentic Indian food. So this is the least recommended restaurant. And similarly, another least recommended restaurant is this particular restaurant. We'll see the reason why. So the buffet changed. Everything consisted of carbs and heavy sugared sauces that aren't even Indian based. So, but which are horrid knockoff versions of adulterated Chinese. So we can just see that this restaurant is not that good, and that's why it's least recommended. So this is the overview of the project. There are totally 5 pages: home page, new user page, and new user display page, existing user page, and existing user display page. I'll be explaining the code in the coming upcoming segment. So coming to the code part of the project, so the database, we have used this Yelp academic data set. So here we have the review ID, user ID, business ID, stars, date, text, so etc. So out of all these, we'll be using user ID and the business ID and text for our project, because you like, yeah, we need these parameters, and based on these only our project is running. So text is nothing but the comment user has given about a particular restaurant. So we can also notice that the business ID are totally mixed up and it's not in an order. So settings.py file. So this file is mainly for the data connections file, like MongoDB localhost. This is nothing but the port on which the website is hosted, and this is the dataset path file name. It is in the JSON format, which I previously showed, and this is a user database name is USR, and as I already showed, these are some of the collections under this particular database user. So coming to the Yelp reviews.py, this file basically helps us in getting the JSON format to the database, that is the MongoDB database. So whatever is in the JSON file is transferred there. So these are the connection files. I'll show you the connection file in this particular Python file, and it will be the same for the subsequent files. So dataset file is equal to settings.dataset file, that is nothing but the dataset path, and that is here dataset file, and this is the connection strings like to the database. User collection is nothing but u, and user database is nothing but USR, and connection string is MongoDB 27017. So we are connecting into that particular data set collection. So here we first try to load the data set. If it loads successfully, then we'll print it out, or we'll print an oops for our reference, so that we'll get to know where the error is happening. So we need to insert, as I already told, the data set from the JSON needs to be inserted into the database. So for that, we are using the insert one function. So user profile is the collection in the database which has been just created, and into it we are inserting the data that the attributes here used here are user ID, text, and stars. So the data which is in the JSON file. So here user ID, business ID, and text is being inserted from this file into the database, and then the same thing happens with the business. So all the business, the comments on a business is inserted into the database named B. So coming to the next file, in the business file, these are the database connections, as I already told. Here, these two collections are from the previous file, the previous Python file, and these two connections are new files that is being created. As I already showed you in the database, where we are trying to get every single comment a user has given on a restaurant, on various restaurants, we are getting it into one single roof. That is what is happening here. So the dataset file is the settings of dataset file, which is the path. So we again try to load the dataset file, and if it's not loading properly, then we print out why it's not being uh, loaded. So now we are creating a dictionary here. So in this dictionary, we map for each and every unique ID, a user ID or a business ID, we map all the comments it has got inside the dictionary. Like user A would have commented on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 restaurants. Okay, A has commented on A, B. Okay, X has commented on A, B, C restaurants. So we get all those A, B, C restaurant comments under one roof. So and since A would have commented on X would have commented on A, X would have commented on B, and X would have commented on C, it's fair enough to combine that X three X, like whatever, three times the X is being repeated. So it's fair enough to make it as 1x because it is the same user ID. So that's what is happening here. If the user ID is not in reviews by user, that is, reviews by user is an empty dictionary. If the particular user ID is not there, then we create a new key as the user ID, and the value is nothing but the comment he has given on various restaurants, which is getting appended to this unique user ID. So that's what is happening. So we enter this user ID and the corresponding comments into the database, and the database name for this is SU and SB, which I already showed, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that for that database, this is getting entered. So the same thing happens with the business ID and the business comments.